Sure. Okay, great. So we'll get started. We'll have a few updates. I went through this morning and I saw a few of the action items that had been followed up on and a few that hadn't. So we can at least start though. So I see we have Lee, Shekhar's on the team, and then Shazmin, who's got a demo of this dashboard that's very cool that I'm excited for her to show off in just a second. I don't see Tom on the call. The other one I was going to call out just as a follow-up from last time is the authentication PR, which I was just looking at now, and it doesn't look like it got reviewed. I didn't see Arthi or Ahmed sign off on this. I know Ahmed's out this week. Arthi is here, so I'll just link her on this issue as well. To see if that, as for the jobs one, Lee, I see you're on the call, but Sean, I don't see him. Do you know if that one progressed at all? I was trying to assign the issue to Sean, but he hasn't accepted the invite in the org yet. So I might just ping him on Teams or something. Do you know if that one's progressed at all, Lee, from your knowledge? Oh, I can't hear. Let me see. I think my speaker might not be working. Hold on one second. Because I can't hear anything, but I see you muted yourself.
Does that make it better?
I can hear you perfectly now. My speakers are working. I can hear you, yeah.
All right, it was me then. I'm using a different audio thing, and I don't know how to use it.
I'm using a different set of headphones today, so that's why I assumed it was myself.
But yeah, no, I haven't heard anything since last week, so I can follow up, or if you ping him on Teams, I'm sure that'll have about the same output. I know that they're on a customer engagement, so they might have a bunch of different things to focus on, so they might have switched focus, but probably worth following up.
Great. Yeah, I'll ping them on this, and then I'll make, oh, not the authentication. Oh, yeah, this is the jobs one, that's right. You accept the invite to the org. Okay, so then before we go to Shazmin to demo the dashboard, which I'll record and probably pop up on YouTube and add to the notes for people who want to watch it, Lee or Shekhar, any updates from your side or any things that we need to take note of that I can at least even follow up offline with Arthi and Ahmed on?
I had submitted a PR for the external scaler support quite a long time ago.
Right.
And also, no, there are two of them. So there's one for scaling based on Kubernetes events.
Yes.
And then there's the external scaler support. And no one's signed off on that yet. Now, what I can do is probably next time I could demo that support. That'll probably be better. And then we could discuss it and close off the PR after that.
Yeah, it looked great. We talked about it last week, and I know you weren't on the call. This week's challenging because it seems to be holiday week for a lot of folks, understandably so. So why don't we plan on that? We'll at least cover it. I still am going to see if I can get them to review it before the next meetup. But let me just add it here for proposed agenda. That would be cool to do it because, yeah, we talked about it yesterday. I think everyone thinks what you built is probably great. It's just that we actually need them to formally review it. So I'll add the external scalar support demo. Mm-hmm. That'd be cool. Or at least walkthrough, yeah. That'd be great. Any other ones, Shekhar, that you've been tracking? I know you also have the Kubernetes events one, which hopefully they review as well, but I think this one's probably the one that will be more interesting, and it's also 22 days old.
Yeah, so I could demo it. So I've already got a sample in Go, but I want to write a sample in a different language. So I started with Node, cool. And so I could show a scalar written in Node with that. So I'll do that next time.
Nice. That's awesome. Okay, great. And then Lee, anything from your side?
No, very little. I'm on other customer projects and other projects, so I haven't been focusing on KEDA super much.
No worries. That's great. Okay, then Shazmin, I think the last one, then if you want to just show off your dashboard, and then I'll post the demo as well on YouTube so that people can get a feel for the dashboard. But I think it would be great to show that in kind of a public forum as well.
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
I can hear you great. And
Sorry, every time I like get on the call, like for some reason no one can hear me, but okay, great.
Let me make sure I've given you the right permissions to project. I'm going to make you a host, which I think will let you share your screen if you want to.
Okay, yeah, great. Let me just start here.
Oh, okay. Great. Yes, I see your screen. I see localhost 3000.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess this is the dashboard. There are three main pages that you would see when you start to kind of or start up the dashboard. And the first one is like an overview of the KEDA scale controller. And so you have like this panel that gives you a bunch of like details about the deployment of that scale controller. And below here you have kind of an events log for all the scale decisions that the scale controller is making. There's still some work that needs to be done, I guess, like in the events in this like panel. But I think like most of the information that needs to be there is there. So, and I also just wanted to point out that over here you see that it also tells you like the last scale time. So the dashboard will tell you, it'll like always keep track of like when it's scaling out, and then we'll just, I guess, like give you that information, which is kind of nice. And then over here on this page, it's pretty simple. It's just a table that just shows you all of your scaled objects. So right now I have only like one scaled object deployed, and that's actually my event hub trigger. I actually scaled it like 10 minutes ago just to make sure it was working. So again, like just basic information. There were no messages that were being sent to the event hub right now, and so it scaled down to 0, and there are no replicas. And then also information about your HPA definition and reference. But I think the most interesting view that most people would find a lot of use out of is like the detailed view of this page. So kind of like the overview page, you get information about the deployment, but instead it's specific to the scaled objects deployment in that sense. And over here, you again, like you have the last scale or active time for this deployment. So I deployed at, well, I think Pacific time, like 9:53 a.m. So it has that, which is kind of nice. And then there's still some work that needs to be done. I'm still trying to figure out how to like get the x-axis to not be so crowded, because before I had timestamps showing when the scale time would be overall, but it kind of got crowded. So for now, I just like put it to the side, but you can still view it over here if you hover over. So you can see like it started to scale up at the same time, and then 5 minutes later it scaled down, and that was just the cooldown period. So yeah, and so you have more information this time about the scale target, and then also if you want to keep track of how many replicas are currently there, I guess, for the specific scaled object, you can, yeah, you can just like look right here too, if you don't want to look at the graph. And then information, I guess, about the trigger type. This is more like the metadata you would get from that scaled object. If you go down further, this is where you have events specific to the scaled object and scale history. So you can see that I sent it 120 messages at this time, and then that's when it activated and then scaled from 0 to 1. Still don't have, I guess, like the 1 to n scaling that people might want to see. That's something that should maybe be figured out after I leave. And then also here after 5 minutes that it also deactivated. So I think what I'm going to do now is that I just have like a regular event hub producer that's going to send, I just had 150 messages to this event hub, and then it should be able to pick up all 150 messages and then scale accordingly. it also takes a while, but I've also realized that sometimes it doesn't fully pick up all of the messages, and that might be an issue with my Event Hub rather than the dashboard. Primarily because all of this information, the event logs and like the input metrics to show you like what scale distance correlated to what, is actually picking from the logs emitted from the scale controller. And so I guess that is useful, because if I'm sending 150 messages but it's only telling me like something less than that, then I guess that helps with the debugging experience of why did my scaled object not scale as much as it should. So it takes a bit of time to kind of pick that up. But I could take any questions in the meantime.
So this looks.
Go for it, Shekhar.
Sorry, go for it, Jeff.
No, you go first. I can go next. I already think I know the answer to my question.
Okay.
So this looks fantastic, by the way. It looks really, really cool. Just around, what's the difference between what the overview page is showing and when you drill down here? So the overview, does it show a summary from all scaled objects?
Yeah. And then if you want to look at the specific scaled object, you'd have to go to its own like detailed dashboard.
Okay. And then how are you getting all the event stats and the logs? Are you just looking at the logs from the for the controller?
Okay. Yeah. Oh no. Something happened. It didn't pick up the input metric correctly, but it did scale up. Back to that question. Yeah, so I'm right now getting all of the information from the logs, which is kind of an issue right now because we need a more scalable decision. But essentially, I'm emitting the replica count every 30 seconds and kind of picking that up, as well as the input metric. That emits logs every 30 seconds after your scaled object is deployed. So when that happens, I can start like also looking at the metric count, but it clearly did not pick that up. So that's something I might have to fix.
Yeah, and it might. I mean, there's some other dashboards like Kiali fetches the metrics from Prometheus, and that's probably a more reliable way to get that rather than the logs, because that could be.
I think that's something Arthi mentioned. I think just for the scale of my internship, I didn't have as much time to work on it, so we went for this for now. But I think that's an option they're exploring too.
Yeah, my question was going to be, I know you brought up some concerns or kind of about the scalability of how you're fetching the logs, and I was going to have a similar question, which is once we pop this into the KEDA org, I would imagine one of the things that we'd want to look into is making it so like if you choose you want to install the dashboard, that we encourage you to also maybe hook up something like Prometheus, and then we use Prometheus to pull in some of this stuff so that you don't have to just parse the logs.
Yeah. Also because since I am parsing all of the logs from the scale controller, an issue with that is that like the more logs you collect over time, the longer it'll take to load and parse through all of the logs. And so I've been taking the last 500 logs, and that's also just like I'm also losing information I probably want of the KEDA scale controller and my scaled object over time. So I did where is it? Right over. I wrote kind of like document right over here, just kind of like an overview of like the code base and then kind of like how to contribute. And then I did mention it in like that the first document, like issues that need to be like resolved too. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And another question I had is around the authentication for the dashboard. I presume, I know this is a very basic question at the moment, and so I presume there's no authentication to get to this dashboard, right? It's just you just proxy into it, potentially.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll probably need to add something to authenticate as well. So like the Kubernetes dashboard gives you the option of uploading a kube config or using a service account, or it reads the authentication token from your HTTP header to make the corresponding kubectl calls for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay.
That's awesome. That's really good feedback. So I see you've got you've been working on this in your own repo. Have you thought about when you want to push this into the public KEDA org?
Oh, so yeah, I didn't have access to making the repo, so I'm just waiting for Arthi to create it, and then I'll push it.
Great, awesome. Yeah, that'll be great, and then we can start tracking some of these issues in feature requests as well as getting contributions. So this looks really awesome.
Thank you. I think, yeah, that's about it. It'll scale down soon.
Just want to echo what everybody else is saying. This looks really sleek. It looks really well put together. Awesome job.
Great. So with that, that's all we had on the kind of proposed. Israel, I saw you jumped in. We have kind of an abbreviated meeting today. I did record the first bit, and I'll post the recording because I want people to be able to see this dashboard demo as well. But Israel, was there anything on your side, any updates or questions or things you wanted to chat about before we sign off for the week?
No, I missed the last meeting, so I was just joining to get updates today. I'm still working on my tutorials, for the various scaling examples. So when I have the videos ready, I will publish them and share with the team.
Awesome. Great. Well, I'll just finish updating the notes then, and I think that's it for this week. Next week, we'll talk about some of the external scalar support. I'm still going to ping Arthi and Ahmed about reviewing PRs to hopefully get a good sense for both the authentication one, I think is pressing. The jobs one, hopefully Sean will make some progress on, but we'll see. That one's kind of at Sean's pace. And then the external scalar one and a few other ones, but I think those are the big three. And then we'll chat about it more next week. So anything else anyone wants to chat about?
I have one question, Jeff. Then I will sign off. The Docker Hub repo that we have to publish our images. So the process for that is like to do a pull request for the Docker file, and then is it a dedicated CI job that will publish to that repo, or how does it work?
I think it's manual right now. Ahmed's been doing it kind of ad hoc. We have a work item before we hit 1.0 that we need to automate it all through CI/CD. But it's anytime, I think it's about once every week, then he updates the master one. Yeah, some of them are updated. We had the same question last week. It's somewhat automated. It's kind of not too. Like I think this master one, this job right here for Circle CI, it might have the final step be published to Docker Hub, uploading artifacts. Maybe not. Those don't look like the right artifacts. So I'm not totally sure.
Okay. All right. No problem.
Yeah. I know. I guess we could even look if I go to like our Docker Hub, hub.docker.com. Is that where we go? And if I search for KEDA, I'm curious to see when the last tags were updated to have a sense. So 9 days ago for master and 24 days ago for latest. And if I look at the last merge on our repo, it was also 9 days ago. So it looks like the master one, the master tag is updated automatically. And then the latest one is just kind of ad hoc by Ahmed whenever he does it.
Okay.
Which there is a work item to automate all that as well. Okay, great. Well, thanks everyone a ton, and Shazman especially, thank you so much for that demo and for that awesome work. And then I'll post the recording and put it in the links and make some noise about it so people can check out that dashboard as well. And we'll chat again next week.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.